Hi, folks. Welcome to the Witty Vitor podcast. Apologies for being late. We had some technical issues here, but that's part of the fun. Everything is now solved, so we can now hold our evening conversation. I'm delighted to have here with me Anna Maria Mickiewicz. I hope I'm pronouncing her surname correctly, but she will let us know in a second. She's an acclaimed. Yeah, she will do better than me. I knew it, but I don't take it personally. She's an acclaimed poet. She's a publisher and a journalist. She was born in Lublin, Poland, and she's now based in London, although she lived in California in between. And the journal will be about poetry, publishing, expat life, and the challenge of writing across language and culture. So if you're interested in this sort of topics, stay with us for the next hour or so. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I'll be grateful if you can do that, because that's the best way for us to distribute the content. And if you enjoy what we do here, I'll be very thankful if you can press the like button below. If you know someone who's into this sort of conversations and they are not watching us, make sure to share. And yeah, without any further delays, I will just start my chat with Anna Maria. Just a bit of a disclaimer here. Anna Maria just published my book in Polish, and I'm very grateful for that. So Anna Maria, here is my dziękuję again for you.
Dziękuję również za współpracę.
Right, let's talk about your trajectory. So you start writing in publishing in 1985. Okay, so I'd like to understand what drew you to poetry in those formative years.
Since I was a teenager, I used to write a lot. But when I was a child, I used to read a lot of books. That was my sort of the main hobby in that time. And that was the reason why I started to write myself as well, mainly poetry. And that's how it all started. But I was writing mainly for myself. I didn't try to publish my poetry in that time. In that time in Poland, there wasn't such an open market for poetry. It was a very strict market and not open for young unknown poets in that time. So there was no space for me in that time. So the only one chance when I was able to publish my first collection of poetry was an independent publisher. I don't know if you know the situation in Poland at that time. There was a martial law in Poland, very difficult situation in the country. So we had many independent publishers in that time, but they were mainly interested in publishing political issue about Poland during communist time and during the martial law. But fortunately, I found a publisher who was able to write as well poetry. And they found my poetry very interesting. And they published my very short collection in a very sort of simple in that time. There was no computers, of course, in that era. So I still have at home this publication with me, because it's very, very unique, and nowadays it's something very historical, I should say. That's how it all started. But of course, there was no promotion, there was no internet, there was no another media, official even media, who were able to write some reviews, promote my poetry in that time. So we're only distributing around a circle of friends my poetry. That was the only one way to promote in that time my poetry. And as well, poetry wasn't that in fashion, I should say, because the time was difficult in the country. So people were mainly thinking about everyday life, how to survive everyday life. So it was somehow, I was doing this mainly for myself. And the poetry were written in a I probably we should say that were written in a very deep understanding of the situation in the country as well.
Do you remember the moment that the book arrived to your hands? Like, what was the feeling, sensation, sentiment about touching, the tangible sensation of having your poetry book in your hands for the first time ever?
Yes, it was very emotional. The whole situation when I was chosen, because I was not the only one poet in the circle in that time, but my poetry were chosen for publication in that moment. So I didn't believe that I was chosen, and my poetry was so widely accepted by editors in that time. So I couldn't believe that it's happening. Of course, when I got the first issue, I was very, very happy. I enjoy a lot. It was a great satisfaction, and I didn't care about the promotion and selling and marketing. I just enjoy.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I think the first book, it's mostly about us as a personal achievement, satisfaction, and promotion. It's secondary. Yeah, 100%. You mentioned that the book was published in a tough time, so Poland was facing a lot of political hassle. How much that affected your writing back then?
It was definitely, I should say that those poems are still, I tried them publish again after all of those years, 40 years since I published the first publication. And they have been published in many occasions in English, in Spanish, in different languages. Again, not all of them, but some of them. Because I'm not describing in my poetry the certain situation, the certain moments of life, but I'm writing more about feelings, certain feelings. So I think that they became very universal. And nowadays, they are as well very acceptable and understandable. Even all of those years passed away.
Yeah. I think from our conversations in the past, you mentioned that during your student days, you did some activism, and you also edited an underground magazine. How much that was related to your work as a writer?
It was fascinating time. It was very, very, very time which gave us a lot of, for all of this part of society and my colleagues. We didn't, in that time, we didn't think much about how difficult it was, how challenging it was, but it was a challenge. It needs some kind of courage to be involved in this underground opposition in that time. But I learned a lot. Now I can say that that's what I know now. Most of those things, like certain recognition of the authors, of style, of discussion with the people, those routines and experiences are coming from those days.
Would you like to tell the audience, because not everyone is familiar with the context of Poland in the 80s, the communism and all that, but what sort of political battles was the country facing at the time?
It's about freedom, mainly. The main thing was freedom of speech. First of all, that was the main issue in our organization. That was the second issue, which was very important, was to release from prisons the members of the democratic opposition, because they were in prison and we didn't know them. We wanted to know to release them from prisons. That was our second issue, which we're fighting for. And as well, we were related to the solidarity movement, as probably some of you know well, the Solidarity movement in Poland in the 80s. So we are following the same sort of rules, like the same as Solidarity movement in Poland.
So Poland got independence. Was it around 1990? What was the exact year? Sorry, I didn't do research, but was around 1990.
1989.
1989. Okay,
and would you
I was
believe in
not
that
totally
time
wrong.
I was. No, that's okay. That's okay, because it was a peaceful revolution, which we should always remember that what we're fighting for. We're fighting for a peaceful revolution. We're not fighting with weapons. That was our main issue from the beginning. We are fighting but peacefully. And our revolution, what was very successful and we are very proud of, that was no weapons were no involved. That was a peaceful revolution in Poland, which is not, I don't think many times happened when you can achieve so much only by dialogue, discussion, a different way of publishing, and it wasn't easy. But we succeed in the end in 1989 after all of those years.
No, that's great that you overcome communism and moved on to democracy and the liberal regime and all that. At what point did you move to California? Was it before or after Poland became independent?
Me and my husband were sort of, because probably, as you can imagine, that such a people like us were not very welcome in Poland at that time. So many people in the country in those days, in the 80s, and we were even asked to leave the country. But we were thinking that in that time we need to be in the country because we need such an important job that we need to stay in Poland. During the worst days, it wasn't easy to be in Poland, but we were decided to be inside this society, with the society. But when after the peaceful revolution, we just had the feeling that now we can leave the country easily. And it just happened that my husband has got a job offer in California. That's why we left the country, but we're not thinking of living forever. But it just happened that he was doing so well that he got another job then in London.
Right. And how did it feel to arrive to California and to the States in general in those days?
I should say that we were in a very lucky having such a great time in those years in California, because California was booming at that time, in the beginning of 90s. We were in Davis, not far away from Sacramento, and the place was fantastic. The community was very friendly, and we had a very nice and lovely time in that time in California. I know that California has changed, unfortunately.
Yes.
For worse, and it's no longer like this. And unfortunately, there is no longer. But that was like especially coming from Poland, such a great situation for us was like a miracle in the time.
Yeah. Every time that I think of California, especially in the 90s, I think of a happy place, especially taking into consideration the movies, the Beat Generation, the bookshops, the people enjoying themselves on cafes. Am I correct in those assumptions?
Yes, of course. But what was the most important was the sense of community in the society in California. That was something unbelievable, something which I never ever met before. Of course, from the cultural point of view, it was unique as well. Many cultural festivals, jazz festivals, many other festivals, international community, very vibrant life. I remember those days as very inspiring for later life as well.
And how was it for you as a poet? Did you get inspiration from being abroad? Did you feel the connection to Poland would be a base for writing new stuff, or would you rather explore the landscape that you were surrounded with?
I think both things are very important. My Polish roots are very deep, and I am always very related to Poland with my writings. I used to write my part of my poetry about migrants from Poland, different generations of migrants from Poland, which is totally different, maybe not very well understandable for local people, but it is very well accepted by people in Poland. But of course, I love new inspiration, and they are coming from different sources, and from England, from America, from places which I visited a long time ago. And I like discover new places, and when I feel something interesting, I try to write immediately about those places and people and situations.
So let's say at this point in time, do you feel more like a Polish poet writing abroad or an European poet with Polish roots?
Yes, I heard those questions many times before as well, but I should say that I am just an international person. So because I can now, after all of those years, being into so many places, viewing so many cultures, being in touch with so many people from many cultures, adapting to so many cultures, I can feel that I can adapt almost anywhere now. I've sort of developed ability to adopt very quickly now, all over the world.
That's great. That's great. I actually recall myself.
But of course, I still remember. I still remember my Polish roots. Of course.
That's good. That's good. I just want to get into some core question here that I usually ask expats like yourself, because from a personal perspective, I remember the day, or I should say the night, that I started to dream in English. I always dreamt in Portuguese, even when I lived in Spain. But at some point, I switched to English and never came back. Let's say when I'm in Portugal for a week, I may dream in Portuguese from time to time, maybe 2 times in a week. But all of my dreams are in English. All of my self-talk is, no, maybe my self-talk is like 90%, but the vast majority is in English. And it's not a choice. It's just the way that life is. Is it something that resonates with you?
Of course, I do experience exactly the same as you, in the same way. I think we are just so deeply into this culture that is just a natural way of being accepted by the country, by the culture, by the nature. That is, we are just dreaming in a different language. I know these feelings well. Yes, of course.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Very interesting. So after California, as far as I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, you moved to London. You didn't stop in Poland. What was the reason for you to move to the UK?
That's what I said before. My husband got a job in London. That's why we moved to London, because of his involvement in different job in London.
And how did you find England? Was there any easiness from being in the States before, being an English-speaking country, or was it a totally different environment?
It was just totally different feelings. It was so different that from the beginning it wasn't easy for me to adopt, to be able to communicate even, because language was different as well.
Yeah.
Everything was so different, and Britain was different in 30 years ago. Nowadays, Britain is different than it was 30 years ago. It's a completely different country. So I should say that wasn't easy to, in America, I sort of, in California, not only, I'm talking only about California in the 90s, it was very easy to be able to accept by everyone. People were very friendly, very helpful. So I felt immediately like at home. But 30 years ago in England, it wasn't that easy. But nowadays, England has changed. And nowadays, this is a different country.
And do you think England and London as such change for the better or for the worst overall? I'm sure there are good and bad sides. For better. That's good.
Definitely for better. And I think it's more like 30 years ago in California. It's getting like California 30 years ago.
That's very positive, because you hear a lot of complaints about UK, England, and London, especially when it comes to safety. But maybe it's not everywhere. So you think London is going on the right direction from a civic perspective?
I'm talking only about cultural and social point of view, not the political point of view. I'm talking about social life, community life, cultural life in London is fantastic.
Yeah, that's a reputation that there's always something happening. Like if you want to go to a poetry reading, no problem. If you want to see an exhibition,
no problem,
around the corner. If you want to go for a gig in the evening, not an issue. There's always something for you to get busy with.
Every day you can find something interesting. Every day.
Yeah.
And the community is younger generation is different nowadays. There is more sense of community in the society. Their people became more friendly and very, very nice and sweet people. Those young people in London nowadays.
And there is a huge community of Polish people in the UK, and that's something that I think it was boosted by the time that you guys joined the EU in 2005 or something like that.
2004.
And 4, yeah. Did you?
Yeah. There's a big community. Yeah.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I am saying that there's a really very big Polish community in London. Yes, this is true.
And how are the Polish community hanging out? Is there a lot going on when it comes to events? I don't know, gatherings.
They are. I don't really know how they enjoy London. I should say that they are very, very hardworking people. Polish people are very hardworking. So I don't think they have that much time for cultural life and enjoyment in London.
Yeah, that's the reputation. Like it's the same here in Ireland. Everyone knows the Polish for being very much hardworking. Yeah, that's something that we all know.
Yes.
Talking of that, we have a question here from one of the people in the public. So, if with your permission, I'm going to put it on the screen. I think you are the right person to answer that. So, Patricia is saying, "Good evening. What advice would you give to someone who wants to start writing books in a language that other than their own? I mean, is it correct? Is it correct and more effective to write them in the language in which they will be published, or write them in your mother tongue and translate them? In this case, isn't the author original feeling and ideas lost in translation?" Can I get your thoughts on Patricia's question?
Yes, I think this is very individual. From the beginning, I was able only to translate my poems. And I always what was my advice would be to have a native speaker as a very good friend who knows English literature very well. It's good to have a friend that the best thing is to know, for example, another poet, British poet, especially British or American poet. Because from the beginning I was writing my poetry in Polish, then I was translating myself into English, then I was consulting with my poetry, with the native speaker, my friend poet, English poet. And he gave me some advice always, what is wrong, what it should be done, how to change the expressions, some certain expression, when my English wasn't that well developed in that time. That was very useful if you will find someone who is a native speaker. And that is very, very helpful.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I would subscribe what you just said. At the moment, do you write in both Polish and English or just in Polish?
I write in both languages. Sometimes half of my poem is written in Polish, half is written in English. Sometimes it does happen.
How different are the two Anna Marias, writing in English and in Polish, or they are the same?
They are totally different. Poems in English are so different. Being able to write in English for the British audience or American audience, and first of all, from my perspective, I spent, first of all, maybe 10 years to study the culture, the expressions. I was joining the poetry groups. It's a very good idea to be able to join the poetry groups. Then I learned sort of a totally new way of expression, lyrical expression, because British expression in lyrical expression is so different than in Poland. So being able to understand the culture, the language, the certain type of humor in the poetry or common sense, British common sense, it did help me to write a poem which was sort of appropriate for the British audience. So some of my Polish poems are not wouldn't be able to. I do not present during the readings in the poetry group, because I know that they are very, very, very Polish, and no one probably would be able to understand fully.
In terms of creative process, would you like to describe how do you write poetry? Is there a specific roadmap, or it's mostly inspiration?
It just sometimes there's an inspiration, of course, as I said before, but sometimes there's just a moment. It's just a moment, and I had a feeling that I need to sit down and write down something, just something. And I'm writing, it goes just from me, from my, I don't know from where it comes from, but it just comes. And there's sometimes inspiration is not needed.
Do you think it's more like, if you want to succeed, let's say, as a writer, how much percentage is talent or genius, and how much percentage is hard work? I think you are muted. You are still muted, yeah. Yeah, you are back. No, you're gone now. If you can press the same button, maybe. Yeah, I think you just need to press the button that you just... Okay, you are back now.
How is it now?
Good,
Can you
you
hear
are
me
back.
now?
Yeah, you are back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Something happened. I should close it now.
Apologies, I think there is some issues with Anna Maria's technology. She'll be back with us in a few seconds, so just bear with us for another, 20 seconds or so. We had issues at the beginning, and it seems that we are still having some. So in the meantime, you can see Hanukkah just jumping. So at least there is some action happening here. It's not just me talking by myself. I have a question here, so maybe I can answer in the meantime until Anna Maria is back. Patricia just wrote, "What have been the biggest challenges you have faced professionally so far, both within your country and as expat?" Professional challenges. Okay, let me just bring Anna Maria back to the conversation.
How is it now?
Hello? Yeah,
Hello,
you
how
are
are
good
you?
now.
It's okay
Yeah,
now.
it's okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes.
I just told
Something
everyone that
was wrong with
there was
the
some
voice.
tech issue. That's fine. That happens all the time. That's just technology.
Yes. Yes.
In the meantime, I just got a question here from Patricia. What have been the biggest challenges you have faced professionally so far, both within your country and as an expat? Would you like to start, Anna Maria? I can answer afterwards.
I should say that the biggest problem is sometimes when you are, especially when you are beginning to write, this is the problem sometimes with yourself, because most of people do not believe in yourself, in your own writing. And there's not always visible, you do not know well if your writing is good or not good. And the reviews are not always very good in this case. It's good to have some kind of supervisor nearby, somebody who is able to support you, who will tell you, yes, you are doing well, or you should change something in your writing. Or for example, this part should be shorter or longer, or change the style. This style is maybe old-fashioned. Nowadays, we do not write in this way. Or be able to be involved in literary conversation in media. In nowadays, this is very easy to be involved in literary conversation in media, because you will find for example, what kind of issue is really important in poetry nowadays, like ecology, poetry ecology. But the challenge is, I think the biggest challenge, what was the most common, is not to believing what I'm really like, what is good in my writing, which part of my writing is really interesting, has a value. But in that case, what it will be helpful, as I said, is a good supervisor, someone who has a knowledge, has an experience with publishing. That's what I can say.
Yeah, just want to put Patricia's comment here. This question could be asked for both of you, actually. So with your permission, and I'm going to answer it myself. And I want to encourage the other viewers to write comments. We want this to be interactive, dynamic. So follow the example of Patricia and don't be shy. In terms of challenges I face as professional, I would say, yes, I go back to Anna's comment that at the start it's very tough, in the sense that there's not many people around, and you are just writing to yourself, same as with this podcast. Like at the beginning, it's just you and the camera, and you want pen and paper, and you need to accept that it takes time to build an audience or to have readers. And it's just a process that it's very solitary at the start, but you need to be resilient. You need to understand that there are plenty of other people doing the same as you, and at some point your words will echo someone's heart or head. And when that happens, it's just magical. You feel that all the time you spend by yourself, it makes sense, because finally you have a reader or a viewer on the other side. And even if it's just one, and that person cares, that person justifies the whole the whole the whole process. So yeah, just going back to Anna Maria's comment, I also want to reinforce the importance of having a supervisor. It's very important to have a third eye reading what you write, because what happens is writers tend to be very, very emotional, especially when it comes to their own writings. And because we are too attached, we cannot see it as an objective piece of art. So it's very useful to have a supervisor, as Anna Maria just mentioned. The other one I would like to ask you, in terms of finding time and space and context and environment to write. From my understanding, you do handwriting. So how do you go about start writing when you are, let's say, in a public space and you get the inspiration and you need to write it down, and there are, I don't know, friends, family around, and you don't want to lose that idea? How do you make sure that that idea doesn't go away?
I try to remember just the moment, the expression, only one or two expressions. Sometimes I write it down, just the one or two expression or words, just few words. And then I remember what I need to tell later when I will be writing on the screen.
Yeah. Again, I totally resonate with me. I think it's essential to take notes, because poems, I mean, you don't just write them when there are people around, and let's say you are out and about, but it's good to have that 10, 20 seconds to put it in a piece of paper and then explore it when you have time. Do you have a preferred time of the day to write, say morning, afternoon, evening, or it's just random?
It can be any time of the day and night. It doesn't matter for me.
That's good. I wish I was like that. I realize that I'm much more of a morning writer, because my head is fresh. But
yes.
We all change.
Yes, it's very individual.
Yeah. Talking of individuals, what will be your poet references? What will be the writers you look up and are, let's say, your idols in the literature sphere?
I should say something about Polish literature, because Polish literature was very inspiring when I was young. Nowadays, I do not find any such inspiring writers, unfortunately. But when I was young, the author, the poet, a very well-known poet, Polish poet, Tadeusz Różewicz. If you ever heard about him, no?
I haven't. No, unfortunately, no.
His idea of writing poetry was very new after the war. He was writing about this generation who went through the war, but he was not writing about the war, but the existential feelings after the war, about the generational feelings, and about simple things in a very simple way, but very deep, hidden ideas and emotions. And I think he was nominated to Nobel Prize not only once, because he was so well known. He was translated into English many times, but he never won the prize, unfortunately. But he was one of my inspiration, definitely in poetry, Tadeusz Różewicz. But I will be very old-fashioned in that moment when I say that my from literature, international literature. My best reading was Proust, French writer Proust. I enjoy a lot reading Proust, Zola as well, Zola. But they were not poets, but I love them. I love those kind of literature. So that's mainly they were my inspirations.
I was just thinking here, what are my Polish writers that I look up myself? I can recall two, and I hope you forgive me for my awful Polish pronunciation. But one is Wisława Szymborska.
Yes.
I don't know if that sounds correct. Yeah. And the other one is Bruno Schulz.
Wisława Szymborska. Bruno Schulz. Yes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of those two. What are your thoughts on those two writers?
They are all fabulous writers. I should say that I wrote a poem dedicated to Wisława Szymborska.
Oh, I want to read that.
Would you believe that this? I should say that this poem has been awarded. I didn't expect this, but it's been translated into Italian. And Italy, it used to be a competition for a poem dedicated to Wisława Szymborska. And I won. My colleague who knows Polish and Italian very well, Gregory Spies. He's Polish, but he speaks very well and writes. He's a poet as well. And he translated this poem into Italian, and this poem won the competition dedicated to Wisława Szymborska.
Congrats.
So I'm very familiar with Szymborska as well. Yes, yes.
Yeah, and Italian is a beautiful language. I was just translated myself to Italian a couple of months ago, and I was fascinated. What are your feelings when you see your stuff translated into other language? I know you are translated widely, so it's not a new thing. But how does it feel when you see your stuff in a foreign language? Let's say in a foreign language that you understand, like English, and a foreign language that you don't understand at all, because it's different when you don't know exactly what is there, but you know it's yours.
It's an interesting question, because when it's in English, I enjoy a lot. But when it's in French or Italian or Spanish or Bulgarian even, it is a bit annoying because I do not understand. And I cannot compare, what is all about, Is it written properly or not? I cannot say anything. So it's a bit pleasure. It's a nice feeling, but on the other hand, I regret that I do not know the language.
Yeah, no, I can relate to that too. I had my stuff translated recently into Estonian, and God help you with Estonian.
No, no.
You don't understand even one word,
I know the country well. I know the people and the language as well. I don't know the language, but it's very, very difficult language. Yes, I agree.
Yeah, we have a friend leaving us here. Unusual. Do widzenia. I have to go. See you. Okay, thanks for joining us. Question for Patricia. What do you both think of AI's help in your daily work, I presume, as writers?
I'm still a bit afraid of AI, and I do not use it at all, almost at all, in my writing.
Yeah, I would acknowledge your concerns with AI for writers. It's an issue because it can replace us to an extent. But I think I find it useful, not necessarily to write, but as a what's the word? Brainstorm mechanism it really helps if you want to explore ideas. Just need to get used to it. Like you can ask questions, you can explore with your imagination, saying, is it something worth proceeding? Is it something that was already done by others? Because sometimes you have an idea that you think is original and then it's not as much. So all you need to do is recreate when you know that others have done. So I understand the benefits of AI mostly from a research point of view, not necessarily from a creative standpoint.
Yes.
Okay, a question I have here that I wrote it down. Many of your works explore time, memory, and exile. Are these themes you set out to explore, or do they emerge naturally in your writing?
I didn't hear you properly.
No problem. So many of your works explore time, memory, and exile. I would like to know if these themes or topics, do you set them out yourself, or they just emerge in your writing in a spontaneous way?
Mostly I do it myself.
So it's a choice, let's say. Let's talk now about your work as a translator. And translation is not an easy thing. I do it myself, so I know it sounds. It can sound. It may sound something not as hard, but when you are doing it, it's totally different. So when you are translating poetry, what do you care the most? Is it the words? I would say to be loyal to the words, to the rhythm, or to the emotion of the poet?
I think I try to be in both ways, to write according to the words as well. I do not. Some people try to write like a sometimes different poem, totally using different words. In my case, I try to be very correct, using almost the same words. And but I do care about my feelings as well, the feelings of the author. So both things are very important in my translations.
And do you think it's possible to translate it perfectly, or when you are translating, you are somehow creating a second book?
No, I try to be correct and almost to repeat the same words as the author.
So you try to be, as let's say, as loyal as possible.
Yes.
Yeah. I would be the same. And just to your point, it's very useful to know the work of the poet, and if you have some sort of relationship, it will make your life way easier. How important it is for you to build cultural bridges between Poland and the US, Poland and England? Like, do you feel yourself as a, let's say, cultural ambassador?
Very often, yes, very often. Very often, especially during different conversation, dialogues, I try to explain very carefully what does it mean certain events in Poland, or certain events in history of Poland, or certain events in Britain, our days, or in history. I feel definitely that I am an ambassador of Poland and ambassador of Britain, and somehow of California as well. Yes, definitely, yes.
What's now more on a personal point of view? What's the thing in the current day and age, okay, that you miss the most from Poland, and what is the thing that you don't really miss and you are happy that you are far away from?
Oh, that's a very complicated question. That's a very complicated question.
You can say more than one.
Things which are because you miss things which are not, for example, friendships. people, certain people who you knew well for years, and then they are no longer nearby you. So you miss certain people, certain places as well. The places are who you remember well because of certain events. Those things I miss a lot. But in all of those places, not only in Poland, but when I'm in Poland, I miss those places in Britain, or I miss those places in California, or certain events, certain people. Those are the things.
Yeah, so mostly say the socials.
Yes.
And do you want to say what to I don't want to upset the Polish, but is there anything that you don't really miss from Poland?
Definitely. What it will be the worst part of it? The location of Poland is not very nice.
And why is that? Do you want to elaborate it?
That's because of, unfortunately, we have not a very fantastic location because of during the history, talking about Poland and the history, we always have problems because of many wars and from different sides. And there's always a tension in Poland because of that.
Yeah, I actually sensed that when I lived in Poland, that I think the fact that you are right in the middle between two monsters, Germany and Russia, it's not easy. Not easy. It's like you have to, they're just side by side and you are like sandwich.
And you know what else? Because of that, because of those trauma, generation trauma, Poland is not this society was badly traumatized. So it's sometimes not easy to cope with those traumas, but this is mainly because of the location. This is the only one reason why we have so many problems.
But it's a beautiful country. Let me just be positive here. It's a beautiful country. I lived there for a year, and I can only recommend. And there are there's a lot to be seen. It's not just Krakow and Zakopane. Now you can go to the north. There are beautiful beaches on Gdansk and the Tri-City. Gdansk, Gdynia, and what's the other one?
Gdynia.
I can't remember now.
Gdańsk, Gdynia.
Yeah, fantastic. And you have the western part closer to Germany with beautiful cities like Wrocław, for instance, Warsaw, full of history. Zakopane on the south with the mountains. I haven't been to your hometown, Lublin. I have to. No, that's in my list.
Yes.
There's still a big Jewish community there. So yeah, there's a lot to be done, and fantastic food. Another thing, fantastic food.
Yes, food is really great. Yes, this is true.
Still on a positive note, I want to talk about your work as a publisher, your Literary Waves Publishing, which I'm part of as an author, and I'm very honored. That I don't want to make a secret of it. I would like to ask, what inspired you to create a publishing house side by side with carrying on with your writing?
It's actually a very long story because in London I was involved in editing Polish Literary Journal, which we have in London, which is international journal dedicated to Polish writers living abroad, writing in Polish language. So we have writers from all over the world, but writing in different styles, mainly poetry, essays, literary essays, prose. And I was a main editor of this journal many years ago. That's how it all began. Then I got a job in America as an editor in a publishing house in Orlando. That was my publishing experience, where I got the first proper publishing experience for many years. it always became like I was doing most of the job for this publisher. So I decided I should maybe I should open my own business as well, my own publishing house, and I did. And I'm very glad that I was able to do this. And I'm very glad I have very, very good authors like you as well. And that's how it all happened.
So I'm going to put in the video description a link to your website. I think it's already there, but if not, I will put it twice.
Thank you.
So you can check. And if they are interested in publishing stuff with you, they can approach you directly. The process was very much straightforward, so I can only recommend. I had a publisher myself, so I know the other side of the house. That it can be tricky, but yeah, when people when there is a will, there is a way, as the Englishmen say. So that's what I would highlight. You also were part of International Literary Prizes jury.
Yes.
Would you like to talk to us about your experience?
Yes, that was very, very intensive job and very difficult job, because I was asked by two different companies, literary companies. One was from California, another one from India. So different countries, of course, but very different, interesting style of communication, of choosing the authors. It was very, very fascinating job, really. Very prestigious job as well.
The question here coming from our friend Patricia, very active. Thanks very much, Patricia. It's going back to the press duties. What is the additional cost of producing a book when photos or illustrations are included? And to what extent do readers benefit from the presence of images? I will answer that myself, but maybe you can kick off, Anna Maria.
Yes, please tell.
Yeah, so I actually, one of my books, the one I published last year or the year before, I can't remember now, which is a poetry. It's a poetry book inspired by Harry Kernoff paintings. It contained both my poems and also the image that inspired my writing. And if there's a dialogue between the two, I think it's fantastic to have it. Of course, it will increase the costs, but you can also get it back. You can sell it, let's say, at a different price. So when it comes to financials, there is a way to solve the investment. But for sure, the reader can benefit, especially if there is a link between the two. If they are not related, I would think twice before including the two. There must be a clear relation between the text and the image. And if that's the case, go for it. You want to say something on that one?
That's how it should be. Yes. That's how it is. Yes.
Okay, just coming to the last few questions here. In terms of recognition and community, so Anna Maria, you have received awards from both Poland and abroad, including the Gloria Artist Medal. Which recognition has felt most meaningful and why?
It's actually, which one is the most important? I think they are all very important for me, all of them. But the recognition by the Polish government was very important, of course, because this is something very special. Something like the first, maybe the first award was very important too. My poem has got a first award in the British competition, when the first English poem has got an award. And that was in England. And I was so happy, so glad that I was able to, first of all, my poem was written in English, first of all, then it was published on the website of certain place. and then it was awarded. So between mainly English writers, I was the only one foreigner, first of all. And the poem was accepted and awarded. That was the first time I knew that I can write in English and I can publish in English. That was like a recognition in the society, in British society.
Yeah, especially because I think in the English-speaking sphere, there's so many writers, so much competition that for us to stand out, oof, good luck with that.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yes.
So hats off for you. In terms of recognition and also distribution, promotion, and keeping the stuff alive, what do you think are the role, or what do you think is this the role, better said, of literary festivals, exhibitions, radio, podcasts like this? So what relevance those events and platforms have to keep art and poetry alive?
I think nowadays they are very, very important. I do recommend everyone who is interested in poetry or literature, generally in literature, to be able to communicate as with any media which are available, because this is the way how we communicate nowadays. Of course, the old-fashioned way, like poetry events, are important too. To be able to see the poet, to ask the poet face to face, it's still very important. And you can then sell your books during such an event. That's very important too. But those media, the variety of media nowadays, it's extremely important.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Like both the digital and the face-to-face, they are important, and I think they complement each other. That's the way I see it.
Yes.
Face-to-face is number one. You can never replace that. But these digital things are fantastic. Like you are in London, I'm in Bray, in Ireland. We can have this conversation. Some people are watching us from Poland, from the United States. Like, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, that was nowhere in our dreams, and now it's just at our fingertips. So it's great.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you for the invitation anyway.
Yeah, we're coming just now to an end. I'll just ask two questions. For young Polish writers living abroad, which advice would you give them to start writing and approaching not only the Polish audience but the global one?
As I mentioned before, what is the most important is to be able to find wherever you live. Do not be afraid to join the poetry clubs or poetry group in the local, just a local one. It doesn't have to be the most important one in the center of London, for example. No, it can be, for example, London has so many different type of poetry groups in each area, in each council, that it's very easy to find, and people are very, very open, welcoming. Anyone can join. And first of all, just to listen, then try to present your own poetry to the public. And this is the first step. Of course, reading is very important as well, reading books and other people's poetry, being involved, as you mentioned, the media are very, very important, just to present your poetry. I know that it can be difficult to present your own poetry into so many people, but just you need to try. You need to try to present your own poetry from time to time and listen to what people are saying about your writing.
Last question before I let you go. What are you working on at the moment? Any projects in the pipeline? Anything you want to share with us?
I'm now for my another book in Italy, which will be published in Italy. Collaboration in Polish Center my 40 years of my literary, my first publication, since happened, this publication happened 40 years ago. So you're all very welcome to come. I will send you the invitation, of course. You're all very welcome. And of course, I write, I'm sending my poems to different editors, to different people, to different journals. And I'm doing many interviews in Poland now. And I hope we publish another book soon in my office, in my publisher office.
Excellent.
But that one will be in Polish, I think.
Yeah. Best of luck for your upcoming ventures. Congratulations for your
Thank you.
40th anniversary. And I hope the event will go very well. I'll do my best to attend. I have some constraints here, but I will try to get on a plane and be there in London. So best of luck for your work as poet, as publisher. And yeah, I think you have a lot to deliver, to share with the audience. And yeah, I hope you get to more language that you understand, language that you don't. That's all part of the beauty of writing and communicate to the global audience. So best of luck, Anna Maria. It was a great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope it wasn't very nice. Thank you very much.
Okay, I just want to tell the viewers as well.
Okay.
Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you enjoy what you do here, please click the like button below. If you know someone who's into the show and they miss it, make sure to share. And tomorrow at 8:30 Irish, UK, Portuguese time, I'll be here for the Witty Vitor Writers Workshop. So if you're into writing, make sure to tune in tomorrow at 8:30. And I wish a good evening, everyone, and I talk to you very soon. Goodbye.
Good evening. Goodbye.